Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. Folks, I gotta tell you something. I know for a lot of Lions fans right now, to put it ever so bluntly, and to put it ever so pithily, they are pissed. They are absolutely livid at what happened last night in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know what? There's a lot of reasons why they should be. There's a lot of reasons why they have every reason to be upset. A lot of the things that transpired in that game are part of the reason why Brian Branch did what he did. Again, not excusing it, not condoning it, not trying to say that it was a justifiable reason for how he retaliated, but obviously that's where it came from. And obviously when you take a look at all that, yes, it is inexcusable on that front that the NFL absolutely let the Chiefs get away with multiple infractions of cheating. Now, whether or not you want to call it cheating or not, that's entirely up for opinion. Because cheating, in essence, means that there was some sort of understanding between the refs and the Chiefs that, hey, you know what, we're just not going to call stuff and you guys can do whatever you want all night. That's definitely the way it looked for quite a number of plays. That's definitely the way it appeared by how certain things were not called. But to actually insinuate cheating, that means there's some sort of a collaboration. That means there's some sort of an effort by the NFL trying to actually, make sure that the team wins. Now, I know there's a lot of people that think that the NFL is scripted. I know there's a lot of people that think that the NFL is all about, trying to find ways to make sure that their, best teams continue to win. But I'm going to tell you this right now. The way I look at what happened last night is, yeah, the Chiefs definitely got away with a lot of things. Absolutely got away with a lot of things. Multiple holds, multiple bad blocks, absolutely got, the absolute benefit of the doubt on a number of calls that just absolutely killed the Lions. Also, different things that happened as far as the refs, kind of screwing over the Lions, not only in terms of one, with that first touchdown on that trick play that Montgomery threw to Goff, the false start penalty, or not the false start penalty, the delay of game penalty. There's a lot of things that happened last night where it's like, listen, you could get the very idea that there was some sort of a collusion, if you will, to screw the Lions over. You could get that vibe. But the way I look at it is this way. Is there any way you can prove that there was collusion, that there was collaboration, that there was an intentional effort that the Chiefs were to win last night and it was somehow set up by the NFL to ensure that they won? First and foremost, if there was such proof that existed, there's no way you're ever going to find it, number one. But number two, that's just not the way that the Lions played last night. Yeah, there were a lot of things that didn't go their way. Absolutely not. But let's also be fair. There were a lot of things that the Lions did that absolutely shot themselves in their own damn foot. So yeah, you know what? Did the refs not help us at all? Abso-freaking-lutely they didn't help us. They missed a lot of calls, made a lot of things that should not have gone against us go against us. The refs sure as hell didn't help us. But understand what I'm about to say here first. You have to be able to help yourself before you can possibly start looking at the refs to help you out. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The only way that you're going to beat the refs, if that's something you absolutely 100% believe in, and trust me, I believe in it to a certain degree, that yes, sometimes the refs are not going to help you out. They're not going to see things, whether intentionally, accidentally, whatever case you want to call it. But the only way you're going to beat the refs is you have to play so well, so executionally sound, that there's absolutely no other way than for the refs to absolutely call the game the way they have to. And what exactly does that mean? That means that you have to execute 100% of the time flawlessly. And going into that game, the Lions already knew they had to do that. You go into a game against the Kansas City Chiefs, Sunday night prime time, you're going into Arrowhead, you have to execute. You have to execute flawlessly. You have to execute every single damn time. And let's just call for what it is. The Lions just didn't do it. Oh, sure, if they could have gotten a couple of plays here or there, are we talking about maybe a different outcome? Maybe. But the point of the matter is that the Lions had multiple opportunities throughout the course of that game to flip things in their favor. And the problem is that they didn't capitalize on it. You want to talk about the refs, you want to talk about this, that, and the other thing, you first have to take a look at yourself. You first have to take a look at yourself in the mirror and realize that we didn't play the game that we needed to play. Dan Campbell himself said it in the press conference. He's like, listen, we did not play the style of game that we needed to play. We knew what we had to do coming in here, and we didn't execute. That's why he said it was disappointing. Because obviously they had a set standard, they had a set ideal of what they wanted to do, and they didn't execute. And you can call it whatever you want, but it's like, listen, there were plays where the Lions just simply did not execute. There was the one drop by Jamo late in the game on 4th down. There was the other drop early in the game by Amon-Ra St. Brown on 4th down. There were times where our offensive line did not do a good job of getting blocks to open up the running game for us. Those are things where it's like, listen, we have seen the Lions time and time and time again execute and make those plays happen. But for whatever reason, last night we couldn't do it. We had a whole bunch of players that just for whatever reason, they couldn't get the job done. And there's nothing about how the refs supposedly did or didn't do anything to cause that to happen. Last time I checked, that ball hit Amon-Ra St. Brown right where it was supposed to go. Was it a little wobbly? Yeah, it was, but it was 100% catchable. Should have caught that. He knows that. Same thing with Jameson Williams. Same thing with the offensive linemen, knowing that they had to open up the running lanes to help out the running backs. But they didn't do it. So I understand where Lions fans are coming from with them being absolutely livid about all these things that are now coming out about, the block in the backs, the holding calls, the absolutely ridiculous interpretations of rules that up until this point had not been part of the standing as far as how the rules were, implemented. I get that. I understand why Lions fans are going to absolutely be livid about that, especially in conjunction with how Brian Branch retaliated at the end of the game last night, because I get it. Fans are going to want to defend their players. They're going to want to do that. That does not escape my notice. But at the same time, tying that thought process in with what actually happened last night, you cannot just constantly look for excuses as to why a game did not go the way you wanted it to go. Excuses are weakness. Yes, I understand. You know what? The Chiefs got away with bloody murder last night. You've got to find a way to beat it. You've got to find a way to overcome. You've got to find a way to adapt. Does it sound absolutely unfair? Oh, yes, it is. And trust me, if there's anybody that knows about that, it's me. Like I said, when I was in high school and we played football, every single freaking year, there was one team that we always knew we were going to have to play against the refs. And we always knew that we were never going to get the benefit of the doubt. It was the Byron Eagles. Every single year. Anybody that's in Michigan, you know exactly who I'm referring to. They're a team that's out in the freaking boonies. They're like a farm community high school. And every freaking time we played them, the refs always gave them the great calls. And we always had to find a way to beat them with the refs also in their back pocket. You know what the case was? We still found a way to beat them, with the refs still giving them all the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying that it's fair. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not even saying that, you know what, that we can't be upset about it. But the point of the matter is that at the end of the day, it's not going to change what happened. You can whine, cry, and moan about how, oh, well, this wasn't called, that wasn't called. It's not going to change the scoreboard. The only thing that's going to change the scoreboard is you going out and doing the job, is you going out and executing. And that's why Dan Campbell has a thought process that he does. This guy played professional football for what, 11, 12 years? You honestly don't think he didn't have a game where he felt that the refs screwed him and his team over? I'm sure he did. But he's come to the same realization long before I did that it's like it doesn't matter if the refs screw you over. It doesn't matter if the refs don't call a game the right way or they don't call it fairly. You've got to go out and you've got to do your job and you've got to perform. You've got to execute. And if you go out and execute, the rest will take care of itself. The rest will take care of itself. Because correct me if I'm wrong here, there have been games that we've played in the past where it's like, yeah, you know what? We already know we're not going to get a fair shake. We already know we're not going to get one. And yet the Lions have still found ways to win. Go back to the game against the Chiefs back in 2023. In that game, everybody already knew that the refs were going to be in the Chiefs' back pocket. We still found a way to win that game. So it's not, so with everybody trying to say that, oh, well, the Chiefs got gifted that game by the refs absolutely made sure the Chiefs weren't going to lose that game. Okay, but we played the Chiefs 2 years ago and we found a way to win that game. You honestly think if that thought process is anywhere similar to this one, it wasn't the same back in 2023? Absolutely was the same. If you want to say that the Chiefs are absolutely the most, protected team in the NFL by the refs, then that thought process goes all the way back to 2023. It makes no damn difference. It absolutely makes no damn difference. So if you want to continue to go on with that thought process, you have to acknowledge that the Lions have already known this. They already realize that they're going to play games against teams where the refs are going to make it difficult for them to win. But Dan Campbell knows that, and he's like, listen, it doesn't matter. There are no excuses. You go out, you go do your job, and the rest will take care of itself. Because let's understand what exactly that means. If the Lions go out and they 100% execute the way they're supposed to execute, then you don't have to worry about penalties on your team. You don't have to worry about it. If the receiver makes the right cut, the receiver doesn't do anything to interfere with the pass, the linemen don't hold the ball, the quarterback doesn't absolutely do something that he's not supposed to, then you know what? There's nothing the refs can do. The refs can't throw a flag for something that doesn't exist. Because if they do, it's going to come back that, hey, there was nothing there. The flag's going to get picked up. That's how the game works. What doesn't happen is when there is a blatant no call on the field for something that did happen. Those are what we do see. That's what we did see last night against the Chiefs, was a bunch of plays that should have been called, and they weren't. If the Lions go out and they still outperform those times where the Chiefs are getting away with bloody murder, then you know what? It doesn't matter what the refs do. They can't stop a team that absolutely is performing and executing at a high level, even if they're giving the opponent all the benefit of the doubt and not calling things they absolutely should. That's why Campbell always says, we don't make excuses here. If we go out and we do our job and we execute, the rest will take care of itself. That's why it's important to understand that, yeah, you know what? The Lions got screwed last night. Yeah, no doubt about that one. But you have to understand that within that understanding of the fact that they got screwed, if the Lions had executed better, they still could have found a way to win. Because let's understand something here. Were or were not the Lions up 10-6 at one point? Were or were not the Lions only down by 3 points going into the half? The Lions had a chance to win that game, but because they couldn't execute when it was absolutely necessary to execute, that's where they failed. Yeah, you can talk about how, you know what, they took off those 7 points in the beginning and that screwed us over. We still got 3 points out of the drive. Yeah, we lost 4 points out of that particular swing. But correct me if I'm wrong here, we lost, what was it, 30-17 last night, 31-17 last night? All those 4 points we're going to do was make it less of a loss. Where do you make up the additional, 10, 11 points that are still missing? That's from not executing in other areas. And I know Lions fans don't want to hear this. They want to point the finger, they want to judge, they want to say that the NFL screwed us over and that there's no way if that game was called fair that we should have lost. You honestly think that there's no other NFL fan base that has never felt the same way over the entire course of an NFL season over the last 100 plus years? I guarantee you there is. It's an excuse. It's a crutch. Is it a viable one? Yes, it is. But the point of the matter is it doesn't matter. If the team goes out and does its job and it executes, then you know what? The refs can't do a thing. The refs are there to call out infractions. And if they find them, they will call them. And if they don't find them and don't call them, that's another matter altogether. But if there's no infraction to call and the team does what they're supposed to do, then there's nothing the refs can do. That's the truth of the matter. Now, I know other people are going to say, well, David, that makes no sense because there's been other games where it's like, the Lions got called for stuff and it wasn't there. I know one game that they're specifically going to refer to is when we played against the Packers and what was it? I think TJ Lang or somebody got called for hands to the face twice and it didn't happen. That's also part of the gimmick. Sometimes you're going to have guys that are going to get called for stuff and it doesn't happen. But the point is, you still got to find a way to win. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's legal. What I am saying is it's the way it is. And you've got to find a way to win. And let's understand something here. Campbell knows that. If Campbell knows it, he's made his peace with it. If he's made his peace with it and he's not going to accept excuses, then why in the name of all that is holy are Lions fans going to continue to try and make excuses? Why are they going to continue to fall back on, we got cheated? Of course we got cheated. Do you honestly think anybody cares? Do you honestly think anybody's going to give a hootenanny or two rats' asses about it? No. Because it happens to everybody. Every team that has ever played a game in the NFL can honestly state that, you know what? We got cheated. We got hosed. We got absolutely horrendously cheated in terms of the refs not calling what they were supposed to call. The point is you got to live with it. Because again, they're human beings. They're not perfect. They're not robots. It's part of what makes the game of football the way it is. And again, I understand Lions fans don't want to hear that. But if you continue to just simply hold yourselves to the fact that, they cheated, they got away with it, that should not have happened, you're never going to move forward. You have to recognize that, hey, you know what? If something doesn't go the way you want it to, you have to come back and you have to be better than that. Continuing to wallow in what happened is not going to change what happened. The NFL's not going to go back and say, you know what? Because the Chiefs cheated, that totally invalidates the score. The Lions now win. It's not going to happen. So continuing to wallow and complain about it isn't going to do anybody any favors. The game's going to move on. The only thing you can do is say, hey, you know what? We didn't do what we were supposed to do. We got outperformed. We got things that didn't go our way. We have to do better the next time. Because think about it. That adversity, that's something that the Lions have been dealing with for years. And notice what's happened every time they have faced adversity. Every time they have faced adversity, they have come back better, they have come back stronger, and they have found ways to win. It happens every time. The Lions players know that they didn't get a fair shake last night. They're not going to let it hang. They're not going to let it hang around their heads and just be like, okay, you know what? The refs screwed us. I guess everybody's out against us this year. No, it's like, okay, fine. That's the way it is. We're just going to be better. We're going to find a way to perform even better to where the refs don't matter. Because correct me if I'm wrong here, this happened back in 2021. It happened back in 2022. It happened in 2023. It's happened virtually every single year. And you know what? The Lions literally look at it and are like, hey, you know what? We just got to be better. And every time it happens, they come back better. So I get it. You know what? You're livid. You're upset. You're pissed about the fact that the Chiefs got away with bloody murder last night on Sunday primetime. I'm there with you. But where I'm not with you is I'm not going to let it hold me up. It's like, you know what? It happened. You got to move on. You have to realize that, you know what? Just because you're upset, it's not going to change what happened. You can whine, cry, moan about it all day long. The NFL's not going to change anything about it. You've got to find a way when you're playing the game to win, because that's all that's going to matter. Ain't nobody going to care about what's happened after the game. No one's going to care about what you got away with. They're going to be like, well, yeah, they got away with it, but hey, you know what? They still won. All it's going to matter is, hey, is there a win in that win? Is there a number? How do I put this? Is the number in the win column higher than what it was before you came into the game? Or is the lost one higher? That's all anyone's going to care about. They're not going to care about what you got away with or not, because you know what? Every team gets away with calls. I go back to what John Madden used to say. You can call holding on every single play, but you don't. You can call away, you could literally call a whole bunch of penalties on every single play, but you don't. The point of the matter is that every team is going to get breaks over a course of a game. What happens is, can you take advantage of those breaks and make them work in your favor? Sometimes the NFL refs are going to make it almost impossibly hard for you to try and do that, but you still got to find a way to win. I know that that's not what y'all want to hear, but it's the truth. And if there's one thing I will never not do on this platform, is not tell you all the truth. I played football for damn near 10 plus years. I had plenty of games where I felt the refs were against us. And that was in high school and college. We're talking the pros here. It's even worse. You're going to have guys that are they got money on the line. They're trying to make a livelihood out of this. And you know what? They have a ref that all of a sudden screws them over. That's way worse than college or high school. But if it's happening back on those levels, what makes you think it's not going to happen in the NFL? That's all I'm trying to say. So yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right to be upset with what happened last night. But you've got to let it go. You got to move on. You've got to understand that, you know what? As crappy as it is, as much as it sucks, you can't let that be the reason that you get, held down in the muck. You've got to realize, like Campbell's realized, that's just the way it is. You've got to be better, and you've got to find a way to execute better. And if you do, the game will work itself out in your favor 99 times out of 100. That's just the way it is. But anyway, I've said my piece on this, so I'm going to end the episode and say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage you all to watch the next episode. Also encourage you all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you not yet had a chance to do so, again, want to highly encourage y'all, make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you guys never miss any more content I push out. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope you got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.